Hi YouTube, welcome to our Crusader Kings game. We're going to start a new Let's Play, and to do that with us today is a newer player who hasn't really watched a lot of Crusaders games too, and so I've invited him today so that he can basically give a perspective on what a new player might have questions about or might would want to know about the game.
Hello.
His name is Grantgravity. He has his own podcast that we run together, and he also has his own channel where he puts some of his videos occasionally. So you can maybe go
Yeah,
check
you
that out.
can uh, you can go check me out youtube.com/grantgravity.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I'm doing some more stuff. I mainly do Minecraft, but I am interested in Command and Conquer games. It's kind of a new thing for me, and I've basically only seen very little of this game. And like Ben said, if he wasn't going to mention it, I was. If you think we're funny or entertaining, you can go check out our podcast. There will be a link in the description. But yeah, what? So I mean, this is like I think they're called what, 4X game?
No, this
Four.
is actually a 4X game is referred to a lot of games considered like Civilization or Orion 2,
Mm-hmm.
which are explore, exploit, exterminate, and expand. This has elements of expand, it has elements of exterminate, but you're not really exploring because you already kind of know what Europe looks like, and you're not really exploiting resources as much. Like even in something like Total War, which I'm doing a Let's Play now, and I think that you've just recently become interested in
Mm-hmm.
Shogun 2.
Mm-hmm.
There are resources that you can exploit, like iron or armor smith or weaponsmith, but
Sure.
it's not quite the same thing. Games like Shogun 2 or the Total War series or Crusader Kings 2 or either four usually referred to as top-down grand strategy games.
Oh, okay. More like Risk or something then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and diplomacy, and this kind of has a little bit more feel, I would say, of like diplomacy.
Okay.
There are traits and characters and things like that. So, what I wanted to do here is to get your input on where, where, what might think that having problems
What new
speaking today.
players would ask, and like how to introduce somebody to this game?
Right. So
That's what you
we're
really
gonna
want to
go
know.
to the age of 1867.
Why?
Um,
Why did you pick that particular year? Do you just like it, or is that like a
It's the
difficulty
earliest year
scale?
to which I have the downloadable content. You can
Ah.
start in the year like I think 741 if you pick Charlemagne, but I don't happen to have that DLC.
Hmm.
And so yes, I'm going to be starting, and
And
I
we have
don't know
like.
who I don't know. Think I'm going to pick any of these characters, but let's go ahead and read it. It says Crusader Kings 2 spans a period of almost 700 years. Choose the timeline where you want to start. It says by the middle of the ninth century, the Norse raiders and adventurers known as Vikings had already begun to set their indelible mark upon the map of Europe, establishing realms in Russia and the British Isles and traveling and raiding as far as the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. The Karling rulers, which is a dynasty, descendants of Charlemagne, ruled the mighty realms of France, Germany, Italy, while the Muslim region was now firmly established in Spain under the Umayyads. The Byzantine emperor held on through suffering under increasing pressure from the Caliphate and the Bulgarians. So this is before the Ottoman Empire was established. And the Bulgarians. West of the fractured steppes, the Magyars were poised to make their claim upon the Carpathian Basin. That's over here, kind of where the historical Kazakhs started to form later on. Islam was spreading rapidly in Persia under such ruler as the Saffarids, and penetrated into the Indus Valley. So they started trying to make headways into. So the Indus Valley is currently where Pakistan is, but it's the valley that's been fought over between Pakistan and India for like the last 100 years.
Mhm.
So that's like some history there. Further east, in the Hindu Parathara dynasties were expanding.
Okay, so this is like historically accurate up
Yeah,
to basically this point, because I'm
yeah,
guessing at the point where you take control, you can change the history.
yeah. That's that. You are taking control of history. Like, um, so the Carlings were in power and started their dynasties, like it said in France, Germany, Italy. But they went for so long that
Hmm.
other dynasties ended up taking their place, like the Habsburgs and the kind of the civil wars and things like that. And obviously, there's something that hasn't happened yet that is very impactful to what would be American history, which is the invasion of England in 1066 by the Norman Duke William the Conqueror. And so, had France, France did invade and succeeded invading England, which is why we have a whole bunch of French loanwords today. And But that might not happen. So, instead of a mostly like sort of French-backed English culture, we might have a Germanic-backed English culture, or even a Norse-backed English culture, where we would have more loan words from like Norway or Sweden or something like that. But we're going to go ahead and say custom game setup, and now we get to pick. So there is one caveat before we pick. I want to be a count, because we're going to do an Iron Man campaign where I cannot manipulate the saves. It will save it for us.
Like you can't go back?
Yeah, I can't go back. I can't. Yeah, there's no way to like. It's kind of a little bit more roguish. There's no way that I can go back and change it. And it says when Iron Man is in mode is enabled, you cannot manually save the game. You can only get Steam achievements on Iron Man. So I'm trying to get a couple of Steam achievements, things like that. These are different map views, so let's go ahead and look at them right quick. And we're going to be choosing what part of the country we're going to be starting on. And of course, this map is not very informative in the sense that it tells you a little bit about terrain and weather, but it doesn't really tell you anything else. I prefer the Realms map mode, and now you can see the kingdoms such as West Francia and Aquitaine and Burgundy and East Francia and Italy, Bulgaria.
So it's like you have like Google Maps mode changer.
Yeah, like we have satellite. Now we have Google Maps mode.
Yeah.
I can look at different counts, so this would probably be a good mode to pick out the count.
No,
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Dukes.
Okay, all right.
Kings, religions.
So, have you already picked out? Like, I'm guessing since you know the game, you've already picked a place.
Actually, I haven't. I thought about picking out somewhere in Bulgaria. This particular count is actually a very hard place to start if I were to start here, because he's surrounded. If I was to try to fabricate claims on lands around it, it happened to be that the king of the land owns almost every single territory around. So, no, this is kind of cool. Like, this is one of my favorite parts about the game. If you start clicking on things, like, it'll actually play a song for you while you're clicking on things. I'm kind of geeky like that. Anyway, right. But the thing is that if you're going to be watching this, like, if you are interested in it, where do you think where might you pick? Like, what?
Well, like, I'm thinking, okay, at the time, whatever, 867.
Yep.
What actually did conquer there? Because if you know, if that were the case, I might want to pick somewhere near, or maybe a big power at the time, because I personally, I want to be successful and I want to conquer as many places as I can. Maybe not perfectly historically accurate, like I don't know if,
So, one of the things it will tell you is that the game, you cannot necessarily die just simply by having a title taken away. Like, if I was a king and I lost my title, I would not necessarily die. As long as I had dynasty members that were landed, I would be okay. The point of the game in this is to basically spread your dynasty and gain titles until you've reached a point where you're happy. Like, I might be a count now, but my real goal might become emperor, or at least see my lineage become emperor. Mm-hmm. So you're actually protected a little bit from sort of a death if, like, I were to pick somewhere in Burgundy and Burgundy got swallowed up by France and East Francia. Like, if Burgundy started going away, it wouldn't necessarily kill me. I would simply have a new liege.
Right.
So that's not so much a worry, but you are right in the sense that if you picked something like Bulgaria, Italy, or one of the Carling dynasty
You're probably gonna have a harder time for ones that go away
Well, it's
historically.
there is opportunity in turmoil to grab lands from weak kings and weak dukes. So that's not necessarily true. Sometimes it's actually harder to take lands in a very strong country because they can change crown laws to basically say, okay, guys, no infighting between you counts and you dukes. I don't want to see it. And
Yeah.
if they're a strong king, they can have the authority to make that happen. And then you're like stuck
Right.
where you're like, man, I can't fabricate a claim on my neighbor's land and go kill my neighbor.
Right.
So actually,
I keep thinking.
sometimes a
I,
weak nation is actually good for a burgeoning count. If you're a king, you want a strong country. If you're a count, you kind of want a weak country, actually.
um,
But what kind of
I have no idea.
what
Like,
sounds interesting to you for geography, like the lands of Bavaria,
oh,
places that would now be Eastern Germany and Poland?
probably more north. Although I know there's probably problems with weather. But I mean, like, if we're at the time of the Vikings, be a Viking.
Okay. You know
That's
what I
like
haven't really done? I haven't really been anything like in Sweden.
that's what
Lo-
I was thinking. That'd be
looks
cool.
like uh, we could pick like something like maybe the Count of Skane. Like, let's go look at the counts here. There is a count. I would be a chief,
Ooh,
Fririk of.
I don't know how good you are at this. I don't know what kind of difficulty you want it to be at.
Well,
Like, look at the scale there. It looks
yeah,
like
it's saying that's pretty difficult, right? Um, Usually it's not too bad. I believe that Skane is actually a pretty good territory. So we could be Siegfried of Skane, and then we could like have we could like want to maybe become the future king of Denmark, and maybe the future king of Sweden. So that could be the. Why don't we go ahead and do that?
okay, sounds good. I can't help but think this is like training for some kind of accidental time travel where we get sent back in time and we have to like conquer land.
Well, it's a good way to like learn a little bit of like history through tangential learning, and
Yeah, I have no idea about any of this stuff. I'm like totally ignorant to it, so
so
for sure, like
let's go ahead and start our Iron Man
there's a
campaign
place
of
called
Skane.
Skane.
I don't know. It
Mhm.
could be Skane. Like maybe we should look this up at some point.
Skane. Skane. I don't know.
So I'm gonna be the Count of
Yeah, for
Skane.
history.
Okay, so here it says this is where it actually tells you a little
You
bit about the game. It looks like we are gonna have some things chopped off by
can't
the
hold infinite land.
residents. Okay, in Crusader
Oh,
Kings 2, you play a succession of medieval rulers from a single dynasty. There is no set goal, but the world is filled with ambitious rivals. Secure more land to increase your power and protect your family. You cannot hold infinite amounts of land yourself. To expand, you'll need to rely upon vassal rulers. So if I become a duke, I might have a count underneath me.
this is actually almost more of a sandbox than actually having a goal.
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit more sandboxy. That is absolutely
Yeah,
true.
that's interesting. Okay.
Unlike in like Total War games that'll basically give you victory conditions, you basically have to decide what your own victory conditions are going to be.
Hmm.
That's why like there's a DLC that says the content that you can play as a merchant republic, and then of course your goal is more like to establish monopoly
Money.
over yeah, like money routes and things like that.
Uh-huh.
But it says to
Uh-huh.
keep them happy with titles and gifts lest they decide to revolt. The game will end in 1452 if your line can
Oh,
stay in power that long. As a rule, your first priority is to secure an heir. If you do not have a legitimate heir when your character dies, the game will end. This is actually the most dangerous part of the game because this is true.
if your heirs die, you don't have your seed spreading
Yeah.
across the
Well,
land.
it's all about your dynasty. Your king can die, your count can die, but your dynasty must live on. Crusader Kings 2 is a pausable real-time game. I do pause quite a bit. This means that you can issue commands both while the game is paused and when your clock is running. And it tells you how to pause or unpause through using these
Yeah.
things in the upper right.
Hmm.
Crusader Kings 2 takes place on a fully 3D map. You can zoom in and out using your mouse scroll wheel, holding down the scroll
Oh,
wheel and moving the mouse unless you pan. Okay.
Okay.
So this is going to tell me a little bit about what kind of culture I am. I'm playing as a Norse Germanic tribal culture. This gives me two effects. I can raid overseas with ships, and I can raid infidel neighbors for loots.
Yeah, yeah, Vikings.
Tribes are settled, but they're agrarian. Each county can only have one tribal holding representing the entire local tribal population. The more empty holding slots, the more powerful the tribal holding. Tribal rulers are limited to elective Galvanian succession law. Oh, that's bad. Which tends to fragment the land between sons on the death of the chief. So what that means is that as a count and a duke, as soon as I die, my lands are broken apart and divvied out between all of my children. So I want to either have one male child. Oh, it's elective Gavelkin. If it was agnatic cognatic Gavelkin, it would be amongst my own children. But if I only have like one primary title, like if I'm a duke and all of my lands are underneath me with counts, then there will only be one primary title to pass, and thus I won't get a whole big splitting in all of my holdings. So it's kind of my goal to become a duke or probably a king as soon as possible and have one holding.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good.
I can hold tribal forts, I can build these things, I can use prestige to build tribal holdings. So here's money and here's prestige, so I can use this prestige as I gain slowly to apparently build tribal holdings. I can call tribal government vassals to arms instead of using liege levies, which I don't know how that's going to work yet. I do not get vassal tax from tribal government vassals. Tribal dynasties may grow decadent if their religion also allows it. Rulers can raid infidels for neighbors for loot. De jure law effects are ignored, and I can take up to 3 concubines, which I can't as a Christian.
Is there a game benefit to taking up 3 concubines?
I I don't think I've ever played as a tribal
like,
ruler before, so I'm not completely sure. Under Gavelkin succession, I almost kind of would not want to if they're all going to fight over my land later, right?
Right.
So,
bastard children
more
who are,
empty
taking
holdings,
your
more
land.
powerful, yeah. Which tends to fragment the realm between sons on death of a chief, yeah. The early Middle Ages, the ancient Germanic belief system is still dominant within Scandinavia and northern Germany. A pantheon of gods under the wise warrior god Odin, or Woden, rules all the branches of the world tree Yggdrasil. Other 2 main gods are Thor, friend to mankind, and Freya, god of fertility. So priests can inherit titles, priests can marry, which is not true in Christian cultures. Women's may hold temple holdings. Their fairly weak rulers can prepare invasions. Fleets can navigate major rivers. Rulers can raid infidel neighbors for loot. Vassals do not mind if levies are raised. Concubines are allowed. Non-pagans with very low tech have low supply limit. Okay, so that means my armies might not get that big. Or rulers can lose prestige if at peace too long. I can reform my religion, which might allow me to change my succession laws, possibly. And there is no religious head. We're inferior at conversion and vulnerable to non-pagan missionaries. I cannot declare holy wars, and women may be in Spymaster.
Right, okay.
So, let's look at what we got going on here. I have a character sheet.
Is this like Fog of War? This, like, the edges?
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
I cannot see if they're moving troops.
Oh, okay, that's what that means. Okay, so you've got your bearded guy up in the left-hand corner there.
Yep. I've got some tool tabs here that will basically be, I guess, these are land rulership tabs. I've got some concerning things that it's popping up. These are like emergency pop-ups, like my ruler's unmarried, and I have an unmarried heir, and I need to pick an ambition. And these are my resource tabs: money, prestige, piety, domain size. This tells me how many vassals I control, and tells me my total score of the game. So this is almost completely useless. It also tells me, like, these are like the map tabs. I can also find characters and titles down here, and it tells me that I'm at war with East Anglia and looks like Northumbria. So East Anglia is this duchy here, and Northumbria is this duchy here. So I don't know why I'm at war with them. It's probably because my king, this guy, Jarl of Yealand,
Mm-hmm.
is at war with them. So that's probably why I'm at war. And if I were to click on his
Okay.
tab, nope, no wars show up. So why am I at war? Is there another Jarl? Maybe that's a Duke Jarl. Okay, this is my liege, and he's at war for
His
East
name
England.
is Jarl
Jarl.
Sigurdur Snake in the Eye of
his
Sieland.
his title is
What?
Jarl. That's like a duke. Uh, Sigrinder Snake in the Eye. So he's done something in his past to basically gain this nickname
Snake in the Eye.
of Jayland.
Wow. That's brutal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's my liege. I'm a count
Uh-huh.
underneath him.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Do I have children? I have children.
Well,
So
uh,
that's good.
how do you have children?
I
It
I
must
don't
be a
know.
bastard. Okay. So shouldn't you pick an ambition? Isn't
Yeah.
that
Let's
like
let's let's go pick an ambition. That's good. I mean, the pop-ups do tell you kind of what to
that
do.
that seems like the
How
at the
about
beginning of the game, what do you want?
how about I want to get married?
How many of those can you pick?
I can
Just
only
one at a
pick one at
time?
a time. So I've now picked an ambition to try to get married. So now
Well, can't you just get married? Or
well, like, who am I going to get married to? This is
I have
sort of
no
like an
idea.
RPG sort of game. I can't marry my sister; she's dead, right?
Ew, why would you do? No, don't do that.
So I need to go find a wife.
Yeah, don't you want a wife from maybe another country? That way you get stuff from doing that.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe I try to see whether this guy has a daughter. He doesn't. Maybe this guy up here next to me has a daughter. No,
can
he
you take his
doesn't.
wife?
Um, if I were to try to like
Is
maybe,
that possible in
well,
this game? Like,
maybe if I choose a plot and I try to kill him, I have a 48% possible plot power. I kind of need 100% to kill him, but it's possible that if I were to try to kill him through plot power or through battle, maybe I'd be able to steal his wife. But she doesn't really have any. Unlike him, who he has title claims. See here, he has titles.
oh
She doesn't
yeah, she
actually have
doesn't.
any title claims or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So stealing his wife wouldn't get me his lands, unfortunately. They'd just
Yeah,
be like, "Oh yeah, you can have the lady. Go ahead. We don't care about
yeah,
her."
right.
So let's go ahead and like click on the Find Characters button down here to actually find a wife. We're gonna search. I'm gonna search all for a woman.
I'm guessing you cannot marry. This is one of those games that's actually needs to be historically accurate, and
It's
so
going to
you
be
can't marry.
historically accurate. So in Christianity, in Christian religions, you can't marry other people's wives.
Yeah,
Um,
but you're like uh, pagan.
I am pagan, which means that I'll have two options. I can either try to take a concubine, or I can arrange a betrothal or a marriage.
But you can't marry dudes still, right?
I can't marry dudes. Yeah. Now I can be homosexual, but I don't get to
Interesting.
choose to be homosexual. It'll be one of my
Oh.
character traits. Like this guy has certain character traits. If I click on myself, I have certain character traits, mostly which look bad. I'm a tough soldier. I'm greedy, which gives me a little bit of bonus to money tax modifier that I get. I'm lustful, which means I get one intrigue and 20% boost to
Fertility.
fertility, and the Christian church does not like me. I also have really two bad negative traits. I'm gluttonous and I'm arbitrary. And these both affect my stewardship. So I have a stewardship of 1, which is really bad.
Can you? Okay, so I have a question. If you were to have a son, could you then like basically be the son and kill the dad? Maybe because the son has better traits.
Okay, well, so I
Is
could
that
I
possible?
could possibly kill myself, but I would need a reason to kill myself. So usually
Okay.
the only people that get the ability to kill themselves are those who gain the trait depressed.
Ah. Okay.
So a good way, if you want to try to kill yourself, there's a couple ways to do it. Um,
Well,
that
I meant like if you wanted the son to take over,
yeah,
basically
and maybe
sooner.
I do. I don't know how old he is. He's 12. He needs a guardian. He's currently being
He
taught
has a
by this
guardian.
guy, but he's already arbitrary and wroth. So he's got some plus martial, but minus intrigue, and arbitrary is just strictly bad. -2 learning, -2 stewardship, negative vassal opinion. That's bad. That's bad trait. And temperate. So I don't know what
Can
this
you
guy's been
unlearn
teaching
those
him.
things?
Not directly. You can basically choose role-playing game actions to try to get rid of bad traits, and that's kind of like where
Okay.
the role-playing nature of the game comes in.
So that's why you would maybe want a better guardian.
Right. Now I don't
All right,
have.
we are a little sidetracked. We
We're
might get
getting a
back to
little
the
bit
wife.
sidetracked, right? So let's go see if we can find a wife. I want a woman. I don't want her to be in prison. I don't want her to be married. I don't care if she's a ruler. I'm going to choose that she's going to be in my religion group.
Okay.
So that way I don't get a whole bunch of people that say, no, I'm not going to marry you because you're an infidel.
Yeah, yeah.
Any culture, anything. So what kind of things do we want? Well, if I can get a woman with a claim, like you were saying, that would be
Is that
good.
a nun?
Their headdress? No.
Can you sort by certain traits?
I can if I click on their culture or their
Uh,
dynasty or their age. I can
well,
even.
so what are you looking for?
Well, we're looking for a woman with a claim. So I don't know whether or not I can sort by that, but let's see if we can see it. You see how she is currently has this little icon that says that she's being tutored? That's what that means.
Mm-hmm.
A book opening. It's
Mm-hmm.
because she's young. We're looking for an icon that has a little golden crown. I saw a couple tutored icons. Oh, here we
Mm-hmm.
go. This one has a claim on something. This little golden
Mm.
crown means that if I were to marry her, I might be able to use that marriage to take over a land. What does she have a claim on? She has a claim on the county of Frisier, which is way down here in
Oh wow, that's freaking
near
forever
Bulgaria.
away.
So that's in the historical lands of Hungary.
So would you wouldn't really want to marry her though, right? Because it's so far.
Yeah, I don't want to move my army down that far and try to like take it, but we'll have to see if there's maybe another woman with claim. Maybe we'll get lucky. Got some women who are being tutored. We're about
Man, I
halfway.
wish the real uh, jarl of um, where's your guy rule?
We're in Skane. We're in Jalen right now.
I
Which will,
bet the real jarl of Skane wished that he had a handy lookup device for all of the eligible women.
yeah, right. Well, yeah, there was like quite a bit of communication back then between rulers because they wanted to basically secure marriage alliances. You know, marriage was not for love, so they were actually kind of doing this. So I did not find a woman who has a claim who's near me. So let's go ahead and instead change my religion group to my religion. And
Yeah, you got it. It's the top one.
okay.
Oh, it's like off the screen.
And what we'll start looking for is we'll see if we can find like a genius. We'll see if we can find somebody with like basically genetical traits. There is a
Oh.
genius.
Oh,
She's a master seductress, so she's very attractive. She's a
cool.
genius, which means that she has awesome traits. It gives +5 to everything. And
Uh-huh.
she has really good. She's patient. She's gregarious. She's brave, and she's content.
I have a feeling she might not like you that much.
Well, let's go see if we can arrange a marriage between her and me. She'll say yes because she's low born. So even though she has all these amazing traits, she wasn't gifted with sort of the silver spoon in her mouth. So she's going to say yes. And so
Right, because she's smart.
I'm going to marry a genius.
And that's it. That's it. She's your wife now.
I've now sent a letter
Oh, whoa! It
to
takes actual time.
to her liege and saying, "Hello, Mr. Liege. I know I have no claim on her whatsoever, and that she's basically your property because this is the medieval ages, right?"
Well, where did she live? I don't even know where she lives.
I don't know. I wasn't really paying too much attention. Okay, so where is she? If we right
She's a
click and
spy nest.
if we right click, we get some abilities. I've already tried to arrange a marriage. I don't want to plot to kill her. I can invite her to court though. I probably she will say no. Yeah, because she has no reason to move right now. But if I can say go to her location, looks like she is
Oh,
a
she's not
peasant
that far.
woman. She is a peasant woman in.
But she's a spy master.
Well, is she a spy master?
Yeah, yeah, said it on there.
Well, she has a spy. She has an intrigue of
She's a spy
13.
master of Nidaros. That's her title.
Oh yeah, yeah. So she's a peasant woman, but because of her amazing traits, she has become the spy master of this county right here.
That's not too far.
Yeah, that's not too far.
So,
Getting married
how
to a
long does
Norse
that
chick.
take? Do you have to unpause it and wait a year for
I
her
do have to
to come on?
unpause it. Yes. Before we unpause it, there might be some other things that we want to do. Like this is held by a different count. I wouldn't mind taking over this land. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on our sort of our government titles right here, and I'm going to disallow my council members from joining in wars, but I am going to try to fabricate a claim on this county that's right north of me, so that I will have a reason to go and take his land from him.
Uh
With my
huh.
marshal, I have a couple different abilities. Like he has, I can improve diplomatic relations, I can fabricate claims, I can sow dissent. That's the three
So,
things I can do with my chancellor.
yeah.
With my marshal, I can suppress revolts, I can train troops, or I can organize raids.
So you might want to do the first one. Wait, what's the first one again?
Suppress revolts.
Oh no, you don't want to do that.
I'm
So
actually
maybe you need
gonna
to make some dudes. Train
organize
some troops.
raids. Have a marshal gather men for a great red. If you don't use these troops for raiding, they'll get angry and take your gold instead. Um, right now we'll just suppress revolts because right now if I go to my military tab, I already have full vassals. Like I have 354 out of 354, so we'll get to that tab a little bit later. Stuart is of my own dynasty. Let's see what I can do. I can do tribe settled. Assign your student to settle members of your tribe in the county, increasing the chance that culture will change to Norse. Interesting. Like, what is this? This is Germanic Norse. This is Norse Germanic. This is Norse Germanic. Okay, so
Yeah.
I can try to convert things to Norse. That's interesting. I've never played as a tribal leader. I can oversee construction, or I can build a legend.
Oh,
Have your
that's
stewards build a
interesting.
legend among your people, increasing your prestige and possibly even raising some eager warriors. If you don't use these troops and go to war, they'll get angry with you and lose prestige. But we'll go ahead and do that because that sounds very nice and nifty. My spy master dislikes me. This is a bad, bad thing. Um, so I'm going to actually go here
I
to a
imagine.
point and. Well, you know what? My wife is going to be
Yeah,
a,
that's what I was gonna
a
say.
good potential spy master. So I'll let. For right now, I'm going to let him.
Well, you don't want him to stab you, right?
No, I don't want him to really be. Let's
Could you replace him temporarily?
study tech somewhere. Like my tech is 700. Like I have tons of military tech and no economy
Oh,
or
that's not good.
so let's go look at our tech.
The Vikings gotta learn how to, be merchants.
So it looks like usually Constantinople is a good place to go study tech, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get with this guy and say, I don't really want you in my land right now because you really dislike me. So go study technology instead.
Oh, okay.
So we're basically setting up our court. That's why I didn't pause yet. And for our court chaplain, we can proselytize. We can try to convert other areas.
Don't
Um,
really need to at the moment,
we can
probably.
improve religion relationships with whoever my religious spiritual leader is. Or I could build zeal, and I can raise zealots and other holy wars.
Ooh.
And
But you can't do holy wars, I thought.
it says that I can holy warrior. So if I attack somebody who is not from the same religion, uh,
They'll get a bonus.
yeah. So I could do that to
Sure.
gain
Alright.
piety. Their religion is Slavic, so if I were to, they have a different religion for me. So it looks like I do have people near me who are not. My religion is Germanic.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
wouldn't be able to use the troops to attack.
North.
Yeah, north around me, but I would be able to use them to attack south around me. So I'm wondering if I go ahead and do that, or whether or not I just improve religious relationships with whoever's there.
Yeah, be zealous. Sounds fun.
Okay, we'll be zealous. All right, so in the beginning it's usually pretty slow because I need to like look at. These are my county laws, and these are the ducal laws of Shaland. So we're decentralized, which means that we can basically have infighting between counts and whatnot and dukes. So I can take territory within my own little nation. And it tells me some other things that are we'll probably get to later. My counties, I have normal feudal levies. So when I try to raise troops, I'll get you know I'll get all of the max possible troops minus 20%. If I were to get maximum, I'd get all of them possible, but I have to have a legalism level of 7, so that would be in technology. I could change my tax laws, but I'm going to leave that for right now. My tech is really, really low. As you can see, I only have 1 pip in most of these, and I have like
Mm-hmm.
no economy or cultural tax. Military, I only have 357 men available. That being said, the guy who I'm trying to fabricate a claim on, he only's got 312, so we might be able to
So
get
we're up
going
on
on that.
him.
Intrigue, I can choose plots. I can choose to plot kill people, but I don't know if I have a reason to do that right now.
Right, so you would wait on that.
So I'm going to wait on that. Um, Adopt feudalism. So I could raise a tribal army. You could summon an
Ooh.
army, true steadfast northward, or fight in a war. They will surely come to me as my prestige and influence in these lands are great. But once the peace ensues, they'll return to their homes and fight mainly for honor. But you need to pay for their food and provisions. So if I had a whole bunch of money, I could maybe uh,
Well, what about feudalism? Like, wouldn't it be helpful to have castles and stuff?
feudalism does have its benefits. The benefit that I would see is that I could probably change my succession laws. If we go back to laws here, I only have one kind of succession law available to me.
Uh-huh.
So I might choose to be feudal later, just so I can try to change my succession laws. I could try to demand a duchy,
Hmm.
though it could be risky. My liege, I can't do it right now because there's a whole bunch of conditions that have X's on them.
Ah, I see. Mm-hmm.
He holds the title right now, so I would desire his own title. So he would basically tell me to go jump off a bridge. I don't have enough prestige for this. I'm not. I'm an unreformed pagan, so I have to be
Uh-huh.
reformed to change the feudal government. So it looks like I would have to like try to do some religious intrigue to go into feudalism. A great blot is kind of like a feast. A great blot together is with
Huh.
your vassals another sacrifice to the gods and good harvest to success on battlefield. It can only be
Looks like
done
you're in the
every
wrong
ninth
month.
year.
Okay.
Alright, so I think we're done with that, Chab. Factions are threats, political threats to me, and my religion says that we have a very low moral authority. We do control a couple holy sites, and these are our spiritual leaders. So I don't
Hmm.
know where this guy is. Okay, he's over there. But if we of Paderborn, okay, that's somewhere else. We could try to improve our religious
Standing.
relationships with our religious leaders, and they'd be more likely to help us out.
Support you.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like she's right here. So this is our nearest religious leader.
Yeah.
So we have an unmarried heir and a ruler unmarried. Do I want to deal with my heir right now and try to get him betrothed? I think not. I think we're just going to probably unpause. So now it's been like 40 minutes, right? And we're actually ready to start the game. So I think we'll put a cut in here and actually probably let you go.
All right, cool. Well, that was
Probably
a great start. I will
probably
be
won't.
asking questions on the YouTubes.
Yeah, we
So,
probably won't. I don't know if I'll continue like until we actually get going here because there's plenty more questions to ask about all the little different tubes and how to like fabricate claims and things like that. But thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys had fun. Be sure to like and subscribe, and feel free to have any comments on the YouTube, like Grant
thanks for
Gravity.
watching.